Hey, hello. Welcome to the webinar. It just turned 8 o'clock Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to give people just a minute to jump on. Once you are on, if you could let me know you're here and just type what city you're in, that would be awesome. That way I can say hello to you before we actually start the webinar, because I'm going to disappear shortly. And the presentation will be up. So thank you for joining. I am going to be sharing my screen so you can, just kind of follow along. Hey, Terry in Chicago, thank you for joining. So I'm going to disappear, but we're going to give people a minute or two. I know that I meant to start a couple of minutes early, but you know how life goes. So just a few minutes late, but we'll give people just a minute to get situated, and then we will start going. Hey, Michelle in DC. Good to see you. Glad you are here. Thank you for typing in the chat. I am excited to see you and to talk with you all today. It's so funny because I see your names. Hey, guys. Hey, Nisi. Hey, Carlika. Good to see you. I see your names, and then I automatically see like your photo that you use on social media, so I can identify that way. So sometimes the photo comes before the name, but I eventually get all the pieces together. We're going to just take another minute, and then we are going to start the webinar. So I'm glad you guys are here. Awesome. Nisi, where are you? What part of the world are you in? Are you back in Oklahoma, or are you still in Dallas? You know, I'm going to call you out. Carlika, where are you from? Just interested to know. Okay, good. I'm glad you're back. I hope everything is okay. All right, it is 8:02, and I am a firm, you're in Southern Illinois. Okay, good. Awesome. I am a firm believer of starting on time, so we are going to go ahead and get started. So what I am going to do is I am going to share my screen. We are going to start here, and I am going to go away. All right, so this is the MediaMogul Blueprint. The training that we're going to do today is based on this. It is kind of what I have put together over the years of me doing this work, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself in just a minute. But what we're focusing on today is a simple strategy to land media coverage before the end of 2017, how to really get your message to millions while making an impact. So how did a real estate investor with no event marketing experience make 6 figures from his high-end seminar? And now 5 months later, his high-end clients pay him $100,000 each. Well, I got him an interview on CNN, and I guess you say the rest is history. And then this single mom, she landed a $150,000 contract with a high-end client, and now she hosts her own events, and this was after she was featured on the NBC affiliate in her city, which happens to be Chicago. And how about this pastor from a small town outside of Dallas, which is where I am? He attracted almost a dozen clients at $500 each and made another $59,000 in just 29 days. And this was after he did an interview on TV One with Roland Martin. So now the people that I just mentioned, they used a proven formula, and that's really the key to this. A proven formula that has the power of helping you to take your business, brand, or book into the spotlight so that you can spread your message to millions. Now, thousands of other entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, and experts, my clients included, have used media successfully to build booming businesses that attract their ideal client, that are willing to pay them because of the visibility and the perceived value. Now, it's this simple strategy that literally transforms the roadblocks preventing most experts, speakers, and entrepreneurs and authors from attracting high-end clients, high visibility speaking engagements, high-level media opportunities that they've always dreamed about. Now, in this strategy that demystifies the world of media and gets them unstuck so that they can design their personal system of getting media that can increase their client load, increase their visibility, grow their platform, which leads to more revenue. And it's the system that weeds out the tire kickers, the people who really just want to play around, and connects movers and shakers like you and me who have highly passionate messages with the media outlets and can get those messages to millions. Now, in the next 40 to 50 minutes, I'm going to take you from no visibility to the spotlight, or if you're already succeeding on some level with the media, get ready for success beyond your wildest dreams. Now, if you can relate to anything that I've said so far and you want to take your book, your business, or brand to the next level, type me in the chat room and keep watching. Now, this system that you're about to learn will show you how to do 3 things that will lead to media coverage by the end of the year. It will teach you how to discover your why and communicate your key message to the people who need to hear it, including the media outlets. It will teach you how to own your message and make it translate to the masses, and it's going to teach you how to attract more media by unapologetically sharing your message in everything you do. Now, the system that I'm talking about is the MediaMogul Blueprint, and I've quietly been teaching this to my clients for the past few years. So if you're an author, speaker, coach, or expert or entrepreneur, this is for you. I recommend at this time, if you haven't done it already, that you turn off anything around you that might distract you or interrupt you. Phones, emails, Skype, significant others, dogs like I have. I had to put my dog up just so he wouldn't interrupt. Shut the door, get settled in, because this information really could change your book, your brand, and your business forever. This webinar will take less than an hour out of your week. But by the time we're done, you will learn that you could make a personal and permanent change in your professional life. If you choose to take this presentation seriously, it could really put you in the position to say goodbye to your visibility worries, which will in turn naturally end your money worries and your debt-related stress forever. So here's what we're going to do in the next 40 to 50 minutes. We are going to uncover your message and build a system for getting and leveraging media that leads to a super lucrative, lifestyle-friendly business. And before I forget, I have a super special announcement at the very end that is so mind-blowing, still, even to me, and I think that you will say the same thing. Okay, so we're getting some messages that media is incorrect. Can you let me know if you all were able to get in using the password media? All right, so you're also going to learn how to set the stage and stand out as an expert and authority in your chosen field, how to turn on the spotlight and take your message to millions, how to shine the light even brighter on your book, business, or brand, how to tell a compelling story that inspires your ideal client to buy, and how to own the spotlight and leverage media to grow your business, your brand, or even your book. You're going to be shocked at how many of my clients are able to raise their prices after just a couple of media interviews. It all boils down to credibility. I'm going to teach you the secret to do what it takes to find your message, why it's relevant and important to others, and how to monetize it by exposing it to millions using the media. So that's why I call it Media Moguls, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, or at least I am. So first I want you to take a few minutes, and I want to just share some space with you and tell you, or at least give you some information about me, so you know what gives me the right to host this webinar. I know some of the people on the webinar may not know me, and you may be wondering why you should keep listening. So I hope it's okay if I just take a little bit of time, not long at all. So my name is Nikki Woods, for you, those of you who are not familiar, and I have spent 20 years in the media business. I've had audiences of more than 8 million. When I resigned from my last job, I created my company to help experts, speakers, entrepreneurs and authors who want to build sustainable brands, establish their authority, build profitable platforms, and attain visibility through new and traditional media. I wanted to create a lifestyle business. I was not getting the flexibility in my schedule that I wanted by having a job, which is why I resigned a year ago. But through my career, I've been attached to some of the biggest platforms. Tom Joyner, Sherry Shepard, Steve Harvey, Don Lemon, Roland Martin, the NFL. I just worked with them recently on giving them some media training and media coaching. And even when I was in Chicago, President, then Senator Barack Obama, and I did a lot of work together. And I helped him actually start learning how to use social media before he became obviously the wizard that he is now. I've also spoken on some of the biggest stages, expos across the country, including Indiana, Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, the Essence Festival, Tom Joyner Family Reunion, and done some professional speaking like at the National Association of Black Journalists. I've sold a lot of books. I'm an author. I've gotten lots of media coverage on my own, but I'm also the mother to 4 boys, 2 of them human, 2 of them puppies. This is my oldest, Tyler. This is my youngest, Willis, with the cupcake on his face. This is Max, our 8-year-old dog. And then we just got this beautiful little Siberian Husky puppy named Blue. And I've also created a lot of successful signature programs. So let's face it. I think that we all want to make an impact using our business, but we also want to live our lives, which is why I'm such a big fan of the lifestyle-friendly business. I'm showing you 4 of my reasons to want to have a lifestyle-friendly business. I left my job because I didn't want to be a slave to it, so I certainly don't want to be shackled to my business. My goal for this webinar is to help you create your blueprint and get more of whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's start with the number 1 question I'm asked by speakers, authors, experts, and entrepreneurs who may be struggling in their business. And here it is. How do I get more visibility? Can you guess what the second question is? Probably more important than the first question. It's how do I get more visibility that leads to more clients and more revenue? So if you're a speaker, an author, an expert, or an entrepreneur, and you want to learn the fastest and easiest way to become more magnetic to the media so that you can attract more clients and convert them into more revenue for your business, then the blueprint I'm about to teach you on this webinar is a game changer. So let's start with the predicament that most authors, speakers, experts, entrepreneurs, and practically any other professional really faces when trying to grow their business. The predicament they face daily is that they're frustrated because they don't know how to get their visibility that the business needs to be sustainable. And even if they have the visibility, they're either not getting enough of it or they don't know how to leverage it and make it continue to work for them. So the number 1 reason I believe that people don't have enough visibility for their book, business, or brand is that they don't have a system. They don't have a blueprint. So I know you have a message. I know you have a service. I know you have a book, something that's going to serve the world, but your problem is that you can't seem to find a way to get it out to enough people to make a difference for them. Because we know when we make a difference for them, it in turn makes a difference for us, right? Am I guessing right? Am I at least a little bit close to the predicament that you may be in right now? Because if I am, just type yes in the chat box so I can kind of gauge where everyone is at. If I'm close, then keep watching because this is the perfect webinar training at the perfect time for you. So it doesn't matter whether you're starting from scratch or if you've been doing it for 20 years like me. In my opinion, you can always play bigger. You can always play better and you can play on your own terms. And I love that. At this moment, you are one subtle shift away from breaking through the ceiling to creating everything you've always wanted. You are one shift away from building the business you're passionate about, so you no longer have to wake up each morning and say, wow, I am prisoner of the system that I really don't have. If you've already had great success, awesome. You're going to learn how to make it bigger. And as you're thinking about this today, and as I talk about the blueprint, I want you to think about what you truly want your end game to be. Because if you're like most people I talk to, you're not getting paid what you're worth. And why? Well, the surface reason, I think, is because you're discounting your true value. I mean, I never think that most people charge what they're worth, but the root reason is because you don't have a system. You don't have a blueprint. You don't have a structure to get the kind of visibility that gives you the credibility to charge the higher prices. Isn't it time that you valued your message and your gift at higher and higher levels? Why are we content to stay in the same place? Most people don't. I mean, most people don't up-level themselves. They just don't. And they refuse to watch a webinar like this one, and it costs them dearly in their business and in the lives of the people they love, because quite frankly, sacrifice because of lack of revenue is not cute. It's just not. So we have to push past it. And as you keep watching this webinar, I'm going to help you eliminate the uncertainty when it comes to getting more visibility using the media. So are you ready to shift? If we revisit that question that I always get from people about not getting enough visibility for their business, my answer, if you want me to be really, really honest with you, is it's just simple. People are afraid to put themselves out there. People are afraid to use their authenticity, to use their vulnerability. They're afraid to go to the place that they need to in order to inspire other people to take action. And they shy away from the spotlight because of that. If you can inspire people to take action by communicating a really powerful and authentic message, you won't have a problem in your business. All right, I'm going to say that one more time. If you were able to communicate a really powerful message and inspire people to take action, you wouldn't have a problem in your business. So imagine what life would be like if you knew 3 years ago what my clients know today. Many of my beginner students have used this blueprint that I'm about to teach you to shine the light on their message and their business, and some of them have gotten media coverage overnight. The challenge is, if you're like most people, there's a little voice in your head saying, yeah, right, Nikki, getting media is a lot of work, and if it were easy, it's probably something I would have done a long time ago. Well, I'm going to disagree with the little voice, and I want you to put that little voice on hold for the duration of this webinar. You can always listen to it afterwards, because if it's always going to be there as long as you let it be there, right? So if you have a deal, if you agree, and we're going to suspend the little voice for the duration of the webinar, please type deal in the chat box. This is going to be our deal with each other. Thank you. Really, in my experience, you only need to make a small change today that's going to create the momentum to sustain a lasting impact. The next question that may be coming up for you is, all right, how do you do it? It's really simple. The answer is the blueprint. It's the blueprint. It's the blueprint. It's the blueprint. I keep saying the blueprint because I really want it to be burned deep into your mindset. Here's how the blueprint will serve you. 1, it will help you find your message. 2, it will help you clearly communicate it and attract the media to you. 3, it will show you how to leverage your message and the media and monetize it beyond your wildest dreams. So if your little voice is questioning you right now saying, can I do this? Let me be the big voice for a minute and give you the correct answer. And that answer is yes, you can. The answer is yes, because you already have the message and you have the expertise. So let me say that again so you really hear me. You already have the message and you have the expertise. You don't have to learn anything new. You just have to apply what you already know and work it within the system. I hope that makes sense. Trust me, I know every single excuse that pops up when it's time to push past the limits. I am my student. I am my student. So every time I have a new client, I see myself in them. I see the excuses. I see the limiting beliefs. I see the self-sabotaging behaviors. Sometimes I, as the coach, I, as the trainer, I, as the expert, want more for people than they want for themselves. And sometimes I see in them more than they see for themselves. Today, I am standing for your transformation, right? And so once you decide you deserve this, then we can get into the nuts and bolts of what it really is. So once we get past all of that, I can't do this, it's not for me, I don't know enough, I'm not enough. Once we get past that, people are usually asking the question, what is this whole MediaMogul Blueprint thing, and how do I create mine? The answer is simple. The MediaMogul Blueprint is a 5-point system that I specifically designed for authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and experts, but even entertainers, service-based professionals, really just about anybody can use this. The blueprint is designed to teach you how to find your message, step into the spotlight, and deliver it to millions and get more of whatever you're seeking for your business, your book, or your brand. Now, I want to make something perfectly clear before I share the blueprint with you and how you can use it to get media leverage before the end of the year with this webinar. There is going to be an opportunity to work with me on a deeper level. I plan to sell you on your own bigger future today that most people, even the most successful people, aren't even sold on yet. That is my job, and that's what I plan to do. When you see how I can help you package your knowledge and expertise into a step-by-step blueprint that you can clearly use to communicate your message to attract media coverage, you will be sold once and for all. You will step into the spotlight and create the kind of visibility you deserve. So we're going to go to the blueprint, and the blueprint is going to be the topic for the rest of this webinar. All right? So if you're like any of my other new students, you have a great gift. I have no doubt about that, but you don't know how to communicate it and you don't know how to use it to attract the media. I believe in my heart that once you have your system, your blueprint, then you will become a media mogul. That's the MediaMogul Blueprint. I spent 20 years in the media business, as I said a little bit earlier, paid thousands of dollars in coaching and consulting fees to mentors because I really wanted to be able to harness my knowledge and my expertise so that I could pass it on to you. I think coaches and consultants are great if they can give you a system that you can take and duplicate for your own success. And that's what I plan to do. And really the biggest gain for me is because I know you have a message. It is your birthright to share this message with the world. And I know that for every message, there is one person at least, but probably a lot more than that, probably closer to millions, and whose, their very life, their very existence, their very transformation depends on your message and depends on you stepping into the spotlight and saying yes. Okay. So let's get into the structure of how to create your system to gain media coverage. Now I'm going to share the 5 parts of my blueprint with you. And as I share my blueprint, pay close attention because you're going to create your system based on these 5 parts. Now my blueprint is called the MediaMogul Blueprint. All right. And step 1 of the blueprint is finding out and figuring out your why, and then clearly communicating it. Now, this is where you really hone in on your message. And I gave away a free workbook called Building Your Key Message because really your message is the foundation to putting together your system to get the visibility you want and you need for your business. So when you get a minute, work through the workbook and come up with your key message. Now, that's not saying that your key message won't change as you do different initiatives or as you do different events, but for your business, you should have one core message. And that is really what's going to lay the foundation for everything. The key is to be authentic and transparent and to clearly communicate the value that you want the audience to walk away with. Now, some things to consider when writing your key messages. First, is it believable? So you want to make sure that your core messages are supported by evidence. So you want to make sure that it's believable. You want to make sure that it is easy to understand. I always say pretend you're talking to an 8-year-old. And maybe even an 8th grader, but more importantly, an 8-year-old. You want to make sure that your language is concise, that it's professional, but that you also really want to be to the point. Is it positive? You want to be positive and you want to use active language. Don't use like the past tense. You want to be very in the present with your message. And is it purposeful? You have to make sure your message represents your agenda appropriately. So let's go through a quick example. So recently I did some media consulting for a small nonprofit organization. It was in an income, we'll call it an income challenged area of Dallas. And I knew that a lot of people would benefit from their service, but they really didn't need to, they didn't seem to know, the people in the community really didn't seem to know that the organization was there. And at the same time, volunteers, people that could possibly donate, they didn't know that the organization existed either. So the general goal of our media campaign was to raise awareness. But we were looking at two distinct audiences, and we're just going to deal with one. But we were dealing with the community members who could benefit from the service, but we were also dealing with people that had the ability to support the organization. So I'm just going to address the first one, the community members who could benefit from the service. So we came up with key messages for both, but for the community members who could benefit from the service, we came up with this community message, this key message. Our organization understands your situation, cares about improving it, and exists to help you. We provide free or low-cost options that will fulfill your needs, which would vary depending on the organization. We're located right in the heart of the community, and we want you to come to us and fully take advantage of the services or aid that we offer. So that addressed the fact that they were in the community, but that people may not know they're there. It addressed that they had an answer to the problem, whether it was not having the actual service or that they didn't have the money to pay for it. And it also, communicated that they understood the problem and they had the solution. So it really met all the challenges that they were currently facing. And this was phase one of the media campaign. And like I said, the first phase was just wanting people to know that they were there, not only the community, but actually the donors. And so you really want to work on your key message for your business, whatever that may be, so that you can clearly communicate that not only to the media, but this works for your potential client, this works for your tribe, this works for potential speaking engagements, this works across the board to solidify who you are, how you show up, and why you do what you do. So another key part of your message is you. And sometimes we take this out of the equation. Most people don't factor in the part when stepping into the spotlight. They don't factor this humanistic part in. Who are you, and why do you show up in the world the way that you do? That's the human aspect of your message. People connect with you, with who you are, and the transformation you represent on a deeper level than they do with a product or service. But I get it. I mean, being authentic is vulnerable and it's scary. But as coaches, as experts, as authors, as speakers, I mean, we have a message, but there's usually a reason that we have this message. And it took me a long time to get to the place where I was comfortable doing this too. I mean, transformation usually only comes from a breakthrough. And so mine was when I was a sophomore in college. It was the beginning of the sophomore year, and I was I was at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I really thought life couldn't get any better. I was in love with life, but I was also in love with love, and it was my first real relationship. I was really sheltered growing up. I had Jamaican mother and a old school father, and the two, they were like the gatekeepers of my life. And so I was in my first real relationship, and I was really happy to be in it. I was happy to be in love. And I didn't notice that the love of my life was controlling, that he was judgmental with a lot of anger issues, and that there were signs that things were going to get much worse for me if I stayed in that relationship. So it began as him correcting my grammar, telling me what I should eat so I didn't get fat, correcting me in public, it began with just, things that I could overlook, but it ended with him raping me, him beating me, and him leaving me in an alley to die. And it didn't happen overnight, but I realized laying in that hospital bed that I had slowly lost the essence of who I was, and I had lost my voice. I felt that no one cared how I felt. I felt that no one cared about what I had to say, and that in essence, I didn't matter. And so, I recovered, and I had a very strong support system. And, I went to a lot of therapy. But what does a young woman who feels her voice doesn't matter, who feels that she's not being heard, who feels she's not being seen, what does she do? She makes the decision that they're going to put themselves in a position where millions of people have to hear her voice every day. And quite frankly, I know what it feels like to be invisible. And I don't want for any of my clients to feel that way. And I don't want you to feel that way. So that's why I do what I do. You have to discover and share why you do what you do. And so your message, that's step one. You have to uncover your message. And I encourage you to make sure that you go through the Building Your Key Message workbook, that you really kind of hone in on your message, because that's the very first step, but it's a very important step. Step two is setting the stage so that your brand, your business, or your book is ready for the spotlight. What does this mean? So people, they overlook this step because it seems, kind of obvious, but yet it's not. So social media has become such a big part of visibility. And so what your online footprint looks like matters. It really, really matters. So making sure that your visuals are in alignment with your brand, that all of your messaging is in alignment with your key message, and that all the expertise that you share online supports the pitch that you want to make to the media. So I get that we all do a lot of different things. I get that we're mothers, and I post pictures of my dog, and I post pictures of my cute little, well, they're not little, but my handsome young men. We're grandmothers, we're fathers. I get all that. And so I'm not saying don't share that. I'm not even saying don't share other things that you're interested in. I would never, ever want anybody to box themselves in. But if you want more media, there should really be one main focus that people know you for. And that's clearly detected when people go and check you out online. So if you are, the legal authority or the legal expert, then you should be giving a lot of legal advice. You should be giving advice. You should be giving tips. You should be commenting on things that happen when it comes in the news, when it comes to legal issues. That should be 80% of what you share. I think that people connect to experts that are human. So I think when they see a picture of you with your grandbabies, that makes you human to them. But at the end of the day, they're coming to you for a certain thing, and that's your expertise. That is what you are the authority on, and you have to make sure that you share that. So uncovering your message, step one, sharing your message is step two. But what really makes all of this shine? And that's the third step. That is turning on the spotlight. This centers on looking at everything you do. And like I said before, I know you're doing a lot. And finally making it work together to make your brand, your business, your book magnetic to the media. So when you're blogging or when you're speaking, when you're writing or posting on social media, when you're coaching, when you're networking, and even the media you already may do, everything should support that key message and stems from a hub that is clearly supporting your key message and your expertise. And that hub is your website. One thing I talk about a lot, and I'm going to say it here, and I'll say it till, probably, I can't say it anymore, is that I think people recognize the power of social media, but they don't recognize that we don't own it. So we don't own Facebook. We don't own Twitter. We don't own LinkedIn. And if you think back to MySpace, for those people who can think back to MySpace, you'll remember that MySpace was like the hottest social network going. And then all of a sudden it wasn't, because there were new hot social networks. And even though Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn have had some staying power, you have to remember that it could go away. And if it goes away, you have lost that audience. I mean, I had a ton of people following me on MySpace. Whether or not they're still following me, I don't know. But I lost that potential to reach that audience. So you need a hub, and that is your website. You need a hub, and that is your email list. You need to be able to corral, for lack of a better word, the people that are interested in the message that you're getting. You have to be able to corral them. And so I want to just address the website, because I think people don't give it enough credence. Your website really often, when I look at my clients and I go out online and I look at experts and I Google, potential guests, because I'm back on the radio now, so I'm always looking for good guests, and I Google them. Often the website is the elephant in the room. Too often people will come to me, or I'll be looking for a guest, or I'll look at an expert, and they have a great message. I can tell on social media they have an amazing platform, but their website is like from the 90s. I mean, it's really outdated. And I bring this up because, it matters. We did a survey recently with my business, and we looked at our clients, and we learned that one of the main ways that the media finds their sources, and I even knew this from when I was producing, because I'd be quick to Google somebody. But one of the main ways the media finds sources is through Google. And so when we create website for our clients, or we consult on their websites, we want to be able to ensure that the media can find them. And, like just one example is whether or not your website is mobile friendly. I mean, you would assume that everybody in this day and age knows that people look at websites on their mobile phone. And so their website would be mobile friendly, but that's just not the case. And so it's a very important piece, being mobile friendly, and Google actually ranks you lower if you're not. So you want your site to be easy for the media. You want your audience to be able to, find you. You want to be able to be magnetic. So you want to make sure everything, especially your website, but everything is in alignment with your key message. So the fourth step is using the media to shine the light. All right, so really it is time to play in a bigger way now. And this is where we get into the nuts and bolts of creating your media system that's going to get you media by the end of the year. And there are 5 major parts. Number 1, you must match your media list to your content calendar. You must match your media list to your content calendar. And you have to build a strong foundation for media coverage doing this. And it's important because you need to pitch relevant content to the right media. And those sources need to be where your target market is hanging out. So, I talk a lot about, when you pitch the media, that you have to be aware of the outlet and who their audience is, and make sure that, it's in alignment with your message and your brand. And even though some people have messages that can reach a lot of different audiences, when you're pitching a certain media outlet, to make sure you tailor that message, it's really, really important. Because I think the one thing people don't get is that as a producer, my main goal was to protect the interest. I was like the lawyer. My main goal was to protect the interests of my audience. So if you sent me a pitch that was not in their best interest, I would nix the pitch. But I would also get offended if you didn't even seem to know who my audience was. So you have to really be careful when putting your media list together, that you match it with your content, and you match it with, and you find the right media outlets that speak to your target audience, so it all makes sense. So like you can, and I hope we all get this, but you could have a product, and it could be certain to, directed to a certain audience, and it could be 1,000 people. So you could talk to 10 million of the wrong, wrong kind of person, and not sell one service or one product. But when you talk to the 1,000 that are in your ideal audience, you could sell 998, but you have to talk to the right people in order to do that. So the result then is that you get the publicity, yes, which is what we all want, but you also get the profits for your business and you get the buyers for your book. That's also what we want, right? And that your brand grows. So we want to make sure that we're targeting the right places. We also want to make sure that we're targeting the right time, and the best time, at the end of the year, since we're looking at that specifically. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities around Christmas and New Year's Eve and Black Friday and Thanksgiving in order to really tailor your message. People just spend more money on these holidays. I mean, I don't know. And so it's a great opportunity. And there are some businesses that make the majority of their revenue in the fourth quarter because they are specific. They are very, very intentional about targeting these holidays. And you could do the same thing. All right. But it's all about targeting the right place at the right time so you get the profit and you end the year, with some momentum and some money as we go into 2018. So the part number 2 is you have got to know how to write a killer press release. And yes, before we even, let's just, for the basis of our discussion, press releases are still valid. There is still a place for the press release. But you really have got to make it so good that the media cannot ignore it. A great press release really helps sell your story and it wins over the journalist. In some cases, you won't need a press release. There are times when I've just sent a media pitch and just a press release is like a full article as opposed to a media pitch, which is just like a tease. And so sometimes I've been able to send the media pitch, which is just a tease, and still gotten the interest, but it's more because of the relationships that I have as opposed to how well the pitch was written, even though, I write a pretty good pitch. But you really want to have those relationships in place. But a press release, and in all of my media programs, I really teach a great press release because sometimes you can post a press release to a wire service and somebody will write an article in Idaho at their local newspaper. They'll see this press release and they're like, oh, that's a great product. Oh, that's a great service. Oh, that's a great story. Oh, that's a killer message. And they'll write the article and you won't even know because they don't need you because the press release is so tight that they have all the information that they need to write that article. And so that's why I love press releases because you can get so much pickup from local magazines and local online print websites that mirror the print media outlets. It doesn't really work that way for television or for radio, but for print, it's great. And as far as television and radio, some journalists like the press release because it gives them the who, what, when, and where that they need to make a decision about whether or not they want to do that. So once you have the press release, and we really can't go into everything here because that's like hours upon hours of training to really learn how to write a great pitch and a great press release. But the next step, once you have that press release done, is you have to get it past the gatekeeper's door. That's part number 3. And that's the area that most people struggle with. But it really is the most important. You want to get journalists chasing you down for interviews. It's not hard. You don't need to have existing relationships with journalists for that to happen. Of course, it's great if you already do, but it's not a necessity. And if you're working towards having that, absolutely, that's, great, but you don't necessarily need it. So if that's the excuse that keeps you from trying to get media, then you can just throw it out the window. And one of the things that I really love about the position that I've been in and what I've been able to bring to my company and to our clients is that, and for anybody who just type me if you know what a Rolodex is, but I don't actually have a Rolodex, but I always tell people my Rolodex is so deep. It's ridiculous because that's what I did for 20 years. So these journalists are my friends. Like I can call, Don Lemon at CNN and just, shoot the breeze, or I can, call April Ryan, who is like the #1 reporter now for the White House, and, have her pour into my community. Or I can call, Tony Harris over at MSNBC. I mean, I can make these calls because these are my colleagues. And so I'm glad that I'm able to leverage that, for my clients. But you don't necessarily have to have that. Of course, it's phenomenal, but you can start with where you are and build to a certain level. That's going to be very, very beneficial for your goals for media. All right, so now we've got the interview, and we go to part number 4. You have to survive it. You have to not only survive it, you've got to blow it out of the water, right? Because the key is that it's about momentum. And once you've learned the keys of, how to dress for television interview, or how to expound on some of your points for print, but how to be quick for radio, you want to get the momentum going so that it leads to other interviews. One thing that we love as producers and journalists and media professionals, we love something that's proven. So while we don't necessarily want it shoved down our throats, like I don't want to know that you've already been on our competitor's radio station or their show. I do want to know that whatever show you were on, that you knocked it out of the park, because I know then that the chances of you doing that for us too are better. So one of the things that I would always check when booking an expert, an author, an entrepreneur, or somebody that was, speaking at an event in the city, is that they had done media and that they had done well. So you want to be able to learn the tools and the tricks to doing well in that interview. You need to know how to survive and knock it out of the park. Not just survive, but knock it out of the park, because it really does snowball, and it can expand your exposure even further. And you get better and better at it. I think the more people, it's interesting. It's interesting because, I do a lot of interviews. I love doing interviews. It doesn't really matter to me, like the size of the outlet. Obviously, you want to be on CNN, you want to be on MSNBC, you really want to reach millions of people. But at the end of the day, I think most media, as long as it's in alignment with your brand, is good media. So I do a lot of interviews. I did one right before this training. But I never, people were always like, you want me to send you questions? No, you don't have to send me questions. Do you, and people are like, you're not going to prepare? No, I don't prepare, because I've done it so much that I'm just, I'm just good at it. And so you should get to that point too, where you're just good at it. And there's ways that when I do media training, that you can get somebody comfortable, and you can do certain exercises that even if you're really not actually doing an interview, that you prepared enough so that you felt like you've done all this media. And so you want to get to that point. You want to be able to survive the interview. The next part of it is, what do you do if your pitch doesn't get picked up? So let me say this. Your pitch is not going to get picked up a lot. So let that just settle in. Just feel that and be okay with it. And fortunately, I guess not unfortunately, but fortunately, it's not because of your pitch. It's not because of you. It's not because of your message. But even when I was producing, and I wasn't the only producer, and I wasn't the only talent booker. I was the executive producer, but I had other producers on me that, produced certain segments. So we were all getting pitched. But even with that said, I still would get upwards of 250 pitches a day. A lot of pitches. And so there's no way in the world, if I ever wanted to get my work done, if I ever wanted to have a family or a personal life, could I go through all of those pitches? So sometimes your pitch does not get seen. And you have to realize that and not take it personal. I've had clients who have pitched before they came to me, and they were like, well, I pitched, and then they didn't say yes, and then that was it. It's like they went and sat in the corner and just sat there and didn't do anything else. So you just have to realize that your pitch is probably, it may not get picked up the first time, and that's okay. But then you need to have a process for follow-up that, one, is persistent enough that you may get picked up, but not annoying enough that you're going to get blackballed, because you will if you seem to be a stalker. It's like I would get an email pitch, and then exactly 2 minutes after the email came, I would get my phone would ring, and I would pick it up, and it would be somebody, hi, my name is, so-and-so from so-and-so foundation, and I just want to make sure you got my press release. I'll be like, okay, when did you send it? Oh, I just sent it. Really? And that just immediately would have me feeling some kind of way. And even though it's not a reason that I would necessarily say no, it certainly would color my judgment in facilitating the process. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not annoying. There is a better way to do it. There absolutely is. And that's part of the system you need to put together. You need to have a flow. So if you pitch it on a Monday and you don't hear back about it by Wednesday, then maybe you send a reminder on Friday that says, hey, I hope you're going to have a great weekend. Just want to, see if you got a chance to look. Then if they don't respond, then you have another space of time that you wait. And then you may send another email. And then if they don't respond to that, maybe you need to change up the way you pitch. It's a whole flow. And although it may be a little bit time consuming and it could be very frustrating, it's definitely worth it when you get that yes. And once you get that first yes, the second yes is easier to get, because then you're going to get the yes, right? And then you're going to get the interview, right? Yes. And you're going to blow it out of the park, right? Of course. And then they're going to want to have you back. So even though it could be a little bit tedious, and even I'm the first to admit, when I'm pitching on behalf of a client, I usually, I'll do the initial messaging, and then I'll hand it off to my assistant so that, they can do the tedious part, because it can be frustrating, but it's part of the process. And so you can't really have thin skin when this comes to this. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your message, and know that the right opportunity will come. And when it does, you'll be prepared and you'll blow it out of the park, and that will lead to more opportunities. It's just part of the process. All right, good? Okay, good. So the sixth part, and I didn't even put it in here. I don't know what happened. But there's a sixth part to that. And the sixth part is that you have to learn how to leverage the media, and leverage the media exposure. Because once you get the media, because we just determined in step 4 that we're going to get the media, once you get it, you have to use it to catapult yourself to whatever level it is that you want to reach. So the beauty of the system is that once you do it, you got it. And you can repeat the system over and over again. And whenever your business needs a boost, maybe you need to bring in some extra revenue, whether maybe you're about to launch a course or you have an event coming up, how to get the media back on your team, and getting you to the people that need to hear your message, so that at the end of the day, not only are people transforming, but your business is transforming too. So step 5 of the Media Mogul Blueprint is owning that light. And this is all about how to creatively and systematically leverage the media coverage that you're going to get. So these are some basic ways, because, there's a lot to go into it. It really is a whole strategy. But for the purpose of getting media before the end of 2017, this is perfect. So there's a lot of different things, and I'm just going to go through some and share, and I hope that this is, will be helpful. But if you do it right, by the end of 2017, you are going to have your own little piece of the spotlight. So method number 1 is to share on social media. So if you do nothing else to leverage new press, you need to make sure that you blast the news on your social media outlets. But just think beyond, because sometimes they'll post a video, or they'll post the audio, or they'll post the link to the printed, or they'll do whatever. I mean, you want to think beyond just clicking on it and sharing it or retweeting it. Maybe you ask a question that's going to prompt a discussion around the article or around the interview. It's another benefit, not just for you and your business, but it's another benefit for the media pros, because today's reporter, believe it or not, and I'm sure you believe it because this is just the way life is now, they're expected to drive traffic too. So they want to drive traffic not just to the news outlet, but to the particular interview or the particular news story. So you sharing and creating engagement around that share, like by asking a question or having a discussion, helps build the reputation as a future source who drives results. So we love valuable, content. We love people who are experts and great about sharing that, but we also like people who can drive their audience back to our website. So you want to make sure that you demonstrate that by sharing on social media. And we'll check. So even with at Tom's, with the Tom Joyner Morning Show, we had a caveat. You had to share it before, like the day before. You had to share it like the day of. And you had to share it, the link afterwards. And if you didn't, then that would be considered in having you back. So we fully expected, because we were going to share on your behalf, so we fully expected people to share on our behalf too. Okay, I'm just doing a quick time. Oh, we're running out of time. You want to share with clients. Sending the article to your top clients and acknowledging that their role in your success, it could strengthen the relationship. It will also remind them why they chose to do business with you in the first place. And it reinforces your expertise. Tell your prospects. Press coverage can give you third-party credibility. I talk about this a lot. Whenever you're on CNN, it's like saying CNN says, I like this person. They're good. And so it's like third-party credibility. And so when you have a new article or a television interview, you can, or if you have a sales team, they can convey several things about you without you having to say it outright. It says that you're an expert. It's saying that you're doing something big that has caught the interest of others and that you're worth watching, not as just a business, but as a brand, as an expert and as an authority. Write a press release. We just talked about this. So get press and then write a press release about that press. All right. So if if you were featured in an interview or you were featured in the newspaper, write a press release to announce that. From a digital perspective, Google's search algorithm, it favors press releases. So a well-crafted press release will boost your company's CEO, will boost your brand CEO, especially when you distribute it through a wire service. We just talked about that. So that's a good thing. You could blog about it. Sometimes we'll do an interview and there's, a reporter or a journalist or a host will ask a question, but you don't nearly get to go into the detail that you want. And so if that happens and you want to go a little deeper, do a blog post and explain more. If it was a major interview, you might want to consider, and I love seeing this kind of stuff, you might want to consider a behind the scenes look about how the coverage came to be. If you were quoted somewhere, update your profiles and bios. We see it all the time where you see as seen on. If you were on a major media outlet or even, a local media, if it's an NBC affiliate, you can use that NBC logo and put it on your profile. You could use it on your LinkedIn. You could place it other people. And when people see that you've done interviews, then they want you to have interviews. It's like kind of like you're tried and true. You have a proven track record, and so people will rebook you. Use it in future media outreach, and this goes back to 6. If you're proactively pitching yourself or your company, note at the end of your pitch that you've been quoted in different magazines or you've done interviews here or there, not in a boasting kind of way, but in a credibility kind of way. After pushing it out to your social channels or publication, share it again throughout the day. So, don't just share it once. I think people really get that, in their head. If I put it out there, then the whole world is seeing it. And if I put it out there again, then they're going to think that they're going to feel some kind of way about that. And that's not true. When you post on Twitter, I think that the statistic is like maybe 10% of your audience sees it. So what are the other 90% going to do? You need to repost it and repurpose it so that more of your audience have the opportunity to see it. And those are just some of the ways that you can leverage the media opportunities that you've gotten. So just to give you a brief recap of the MediaMogul Blueprint, so you know what the steps are, you can write it down. Whether or not you work with me, you need to know these steps so that you can really start putting together your media plan so that you can get that media by the end of the year. So step 1 is figuring out the why and clearly communicating it. Step 2 of the blueprint covers setting the stage so that your brand, business, or book is ready for the spotlight. The next step in the blueprint is turning on the spotlight. And then step 4 is effectively using the media to shine the light. And then step 5 is owning the light. And this covers what to do with the media coverage you've gotten and how to creatively and systematically leverage it. So those are the 5 parts. But like I said, the last 2 are really where the magic happens. That's the nuts and bolts. And that's kind of why I spent more time on them. And so now I really want to share something important with you, because this is key as I talk about continuing education with me. If you're one of the few who do, and you're decisive and you really want to take some action, then I will give you access to the MediaMogul mentorship program, which is based on the MediaMogul Blueprint. This training is a precursor to an event that I'm doing in 2018 called Meet the Media Live. And even though we'll do a lot with the blueprint at that event, the best part of that event is that you will actually meet the media. They will be there. You will be able to pitch them. And I want you to be prepared, right? So pay attention, because this is huge. When you register for the mentorship program, I am going to buy you 2 tickets to one of my live events called Meet the Media. They're going to be in different cities, and you will get to choose the city that you want to attend. So there are a lot of people registered for this training. They'll be watching it live, or they're going to check out the replay. And there's only so many seats at the event, so it's going to sell out. So I want you to really think about the opportunity that I'm offering you and get registered by using the link that I'm going to give you in just a second. Now, here's the reason for the 2 tickets. I believe that there's no such thing as a self-made success story, right? So I'm going to pay for not only you, but a guest to come to the event as well. And your guest is going to be your actual accountability partner. I want you to come to my next Meet the Media event with an accountability partner. And the thing is, I actually want you to drop what you're doing and travel. So they're going to be one's in Chicago, one's in Atlanta, one's in either DC or Maryland. I mean, DC or Baltimore, I haven't decided. And I want you to travel, because what I have found is that the people who are willing to travel are the people that are more committed. And I also want you to come to the next one that we're having, and I want you to register for the program and get the training so that you're ready when you come. And I want you to do it while you're excited. So this is really the best decision you can make to maintain the momentum that we've created and to prevent that little voice from sabotaging you. When you do things now, that's where the shift happens. The universe rewards you for bold action. When you put it off for later, someday, maybe someday, it might turn into a lifetime for some people. So I know you're crazy busy, and I know it's not always possible to come to the next event, no matter how hard I try to influence you. So you'll have up to 2 years to come to the seminar with the 2 tickets that I'm going to buy you. One for you and one for your accountability partner. The only requirement is that you enroll in the mentorship program now, and then decide on when to come to the Meet the Media later. So let's talk about the MediaMogul mentorship program and what it has to offer. So the MediaMogul mentorship program is a 12-month program based on the MediaMogul Blueprint, and we'll cover in more depth everything that we talked about today. Key message, all of that. We'll talk about how to craft compelling messages that will tell your business, your brand, your company story, and how we can get it to resonate with the media. We'll talk about what the media is looking for and how to use that information to your advantage. We do a whole, I think it's like a month worth of time on speaking in sound bites. We'll do a step-by-step guide for preparing for a media interview, print, radio, and TV. We'll do proven techniques for succeeding in media interviews and how you can master them. I'll go into writing press releases or media pitches that won't get deleted. And we'll talk about the media relations process, because this really is all about developing relationships so that your system operates flawlessly. And this is how we're going to do it. So there are going to be 2 group media intensive trainings per month, along with 2 group Q&A calls with me per month, with the end result is that not only will you have a media system for getting the visibility for your business, book, or brand, but you'll have a media toolkit that normally would cost you thousands of dollars if you asked a PR professional to do it for you, my company included. There will be a call with a featured, and these are the bonuses. There will be a call with a featured media professional each month. So I mentioned Don Lemon, I mentioned Roland Martin, and I mentioned April Ryan. They're going to call each month, and we're going to learn from them. We're going to learn what the media really wants. We're going to learn how they pick their interviews. We're going to learn how you can give value so that you can better pitch the media. There's also going to be exclusive media opportunities that I still get pitched. My journalist friends still pitch to me because they know I'm connected to a ton of qualified experts, of which you already are. There will be inclusion in an exclusive Facebook community where you'll get to hang out with like-minded individuals along with additional support from me and my team. And I'm going to give you a discount on all future Nikki Woods Media trainings, programs, or services. So all of which provides extreme value to the mentorship program. But like I said, I want to give you 2 tickets to one of the Meet the Media live events that's worth $2,000. And this is what I really wanted to talk about because I'm super excited about this opportunity. So, but wait, there's more. I have an exclusive opportunity for you to host your own TV show if you become part of the MediaMogul mentorship program. And I'm going to say that again. An exclusive opportunity for you to host your own TV show if you become part of the MediaMogul mentorship program. So now I talk about media coverage and how important it is for your business and how it can be transformational, but having your own TV show, that's a game changer. And as experts, speakers, entrepreneurs, and authors, we have a ton of content, but how many people really see it? So what if I could provide you with a way to get that message up to 60 million people? Type it in the chat box. If you realize that this is a game changer, type game changer. If you recognize how completely this opportunity would change your business or your brand. It's very possible for you, but you have to say yes to getting your message to millions. And so quite honestly, when I have a friend, a colleague, he created my mobile app. He did a phenomenal job. And, he was telling me about this technology, and I wasn't very optimistic. I mean, because it really sounds like pie in the sky, as my daddy would say. But my show is now in up to 60 million households who have a Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Kindle device, or Apple TV. It's streaming live, and it's phenomenal. And it's only going to get bigger. So it came on last night, and I actually had my son. So forgive the waviness of the video, but I had my son record it, and here it is.
Okay, so I'm checking to see to make sure that this is easy and that I understand everything that's going on. So my television show is going to be on the Chicago streaming TV station. We have our Amazon Fire Stick. It's up. It's voice, it has the echoed voice, whatever. And so you just say Chicago. And then that comes, oh, look. And so there it is. So there's ABC, there's WGN. There is Chicago streaming TV. We just click it. We click it. The business, I worked in Boston. I was
Okay, so obviously I was thrilled. And like I said, my son was doing the video camera work. The dog was involved. It was a lot. And the one thing I love about this opportunity is even if you decide that you want to be on the Chicago station, clearly you can see it everywhere because I was in Dallas watching it. And so there are 60 million people with an Amazon Fire Stick or Roku or Apple device all over the world, and they would be able to access your content. So that is amazing. You control the content, you control the message, and it literally goes to millions. So are you ready to say yes to your message? Are you ready to say yes to the transformation that you can provide to millions of people? As I said earlier, one of the biggest problems is that, that people have is that they don't have a structure. You kind of live unintentionally, you go wrong, you become uninspired because you get frustrated. To get your message out to millions, you have to have a structure. You have to have a blueprint. I'm giving you the steps. I'm giving you the structure. I'm telling you exactly what to do. And I'm giving you the support of my team to help you get there. Now, I can stack the odds in your favor, and you know what to expect when you enroll with me. A lot of people are familiar with me, and you just know what I do, but you have to be ready to invest in yourself. And so I want to give you the link here in a moment so that you can say yes to more, not only for your business and your brand, but for yourself. I want you to give me a few hours of your time, a small amount invested in yourself, and I'll show you how to design and deliver your blueprint so that you can get your message to millions. So I think that's a pretty fair trade. The retail price of what I'm offering is $199 per month for the MediaMogul Mentorship Program. It's a 12-month commitment, but you're not going to pay retail. You're going to get special pricing today that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. And the reason I'm not doing retail is because I firmly believe that most of my students have lost 10 times that before they started working with me because they were fumbling around with strategies that just didn't work. They were investing thousands of dollars each month with a publicist or a business coach, and they weren't getting the results that they desired. So I want to give you the opportunity to get on this deal, and I want you to rock it. If you're indecisive, you're going to continue to lose more money, and you may eventually be out of business. And we don't want that. Not here at Nikki Woods Media. So before we wrap this up, I want to talk a little bit about return on investment, because truthfully, I really have no idea what the return on investment is going to be for you, because return on investment is up to you. But what I do know is there's a huge cost of inaction or cost of inaction. That I can guarantee. I have this conversation with people all the time, and it gets me fired up. And for all of you out there, you need to be having this conversation with your clients. Think about what you want to make when you get the visibility that you and your business deserve. Do you want to make $10,000 per month? What are you making now? Are you making $5,000 per month? If you don't do anything, what is the cost of inaction not getting your message out to the masses? You're losing $5,000 per month. That's $60,000 per year. That's the cost of inaction. And for some of you, it's costing you a lot more than that. Maybe millions of dollars a year, because I know what the book is. I know what the service is. I know what you have to offer. I know your value. That can't feel good. It didn't feel good for me when I realized it before I was willing to invest in myself, and it can't be feeling good for you. So think about what you want to make per month. Think about what you're making now, and then think about what it costs you month after month. Let it really sink in. Are you ready to take action, or do you want to keep losing money? So rather than invest $199 a month, I'm prepared to make it available for $99 a month. It's a 12-month commitment. That's the investment for the MediaMogul Mentorship Program and the investment for transforming your business and your brand. If you have a little voice that's popping up with money issues, then I know I made this as easy as possible for you to say yes. It doesn't get any better than this. Money is real, but you can't let it get in the way of creating permanent change. I broke the price into monthly payments to make it easier. This is the link to register. If you really break it down, what we're talking about is dinner out every month. Only you're not throwing it away. It's something you invest in that lasts you a lifetime. Your investment is $99 a month. For $99 a month, you create a permanent change in your life. There's no amount of money that can get in the way of that decision. And if getting your message to millions of people is your goal, if sharing your passion with the world is why you signed up for this life in the first place, like I did, then you've got to do this, especially since I've settled on a rock bottom price to make it your yes easy. So go ahead, check out the registration link. And as I told you, the return on investment, the ROI, I can't guarantee. But what I do guarantee is the actual program. And you can read about that on the registration page. $1,200 for the mentorship training today. That's over an entire year. I'm giving you $2,000 back. $1,200, I'm giving you $2,000 back. What does that mean? That means I'm giving you 2 tickets for the live event. Each ticket for the live event is worth $1,000. That's $2,000 that I'm paying to you. You give me $1,200 for the virtual training over a year's time, and I'm going to give you 2 tickets to the live event. That's giving you $2,000 back. Plus, I'm offering you the exclusive opportunity to host your own TV show. That's priceless. I mean, this deal it's incredible to me. And when you come to the event is key to continuing that permanent change, because you'll actually get to pitch the media up front. Actually, it's even better than that, because you invest less than $100 today, less than $100 a month, and you get more than $20,000 in bonuses. But here's the thing. If you don't act within 48 hours, then I'm not going to give you the monthly call with the media professional, because I'm talking about people that work at the White House. I'm talking about people that work at CNN. And I want to make sure everyone on that call with them is super committed. So I'm going to reserve that call for those who are decisive and ready to take action quickly. I can't teach you decisiveness. I can't teach you how to be committed. All that is within you. But I think that since you're on this call, then you already are committed and you already are decisive, and you wouldn't be here today if you weren't. So the question is, can you take it all the way in? Can you go into the end zone? Can you take it to the finish line? If that's you, then you know what the gain is. You've got 48 hours to decide on this. Here's what I know. If you keep that investment of $99 a month, then you are going to keep the problem. So you're roughly about keeping a $1,200 problem, but if you invest the money in me, the problem would go away. With bonuses, a TV show that reaches up to 60 million, and an event where you can directly pitch the media, it's likely your problem is going to go away. And why do I say likely? Because you have to do the work, and that's where your return on investment comes in. It's up to you. We already know the return on investment because we have clients that have proven it, but it's up to you. So the transformation starts October 3rd. That's when we're going to have our first training. Don't let another year pass you or another minute pass you by. You've got to get on this now. You don't have to be a genius to get your message out to millions. Authors, experts, entrepreneurs, speakers, everyday people like you, they just need a blueprint. If you can see how the visibility that is actually possible from the system right now can serve you and your business's bottom line, then you have to click the link. It's not your fault if you don't know how. If you've been struggling, you just haven't had the right system. Get registered for the program so you have the system. I hope you'll enjoy me in the program, and I hope you'll come to the event. It's going to be phenomenal. If you come to the event, which I'm paying for, by the way, you're going to experience how your life will shift, and you'll have the skills and tools to pitch the media that will be at that live event so that you really can spread your message to millions. It will all shift if you say yes to the MediaMogul Mentorship Program for less than $1,200 a year, only $99 a month. Now, one of the reasons, too, that I'm giving you 2 tickets, if there's someone at home that's preventing you from having the permanent change that you deserve unintentionally just because they don't understand your dream and they're keeping you back from your hopes and your future, bring them. They may not know what you want to do. They may not know your vision. That's why you have a second ticket. $20,000 in bonuses. If I just sold tickets to the event, you wouldn't start till 2018. I'm about transformation now, which is why I'm doing the mentorship group. Not only so you can start today, but so that you can be prepared. I have figured it out. 20 years it took me. I figured it out. Don't let it take you that long. All right. We do the mentorship group because it always helps to be surrounded with like-minded individuals who have the same goals as you. And then when you come to the Meet the Media event, you're surrounded by people with the same mindset. Plus you have the media right there, eager to hear you pitch your product, service, book, your message to the millions. It's a game changer. Go get registered, bit.ly/media mentorship. Your business will be transformed if you get on this now. The only question left is who wants in. The vast majority of people say they want change, but yet they live lives of quiet desperation. Now is not the time or the place to be quiet or desperate. You really have been in the shadows too long. Your message has been hidden. It's time to step up. I get so emotional about this because I know how many people are ready for change. I know how many people need your message. It's time for you to step up. It's time for you to share your message with the world. You've made it this far. I hope you go all the way. And I will see you inside of the program. I see that some people have already registered. I congratulate you on a courageous decision. So all I can say is go get registered. I mean, it's $20,000 worth of bonuses, a possibility of having your own TV show, tickets to the the Meet the Media live event. It's only $99. It's a 12-month commitment, but it will be really worth it. So I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I think that it will be worth your while, and I will talk to you soon. I'll send you an email with the link. I'll also send out a replay if you want to watch any of the information, and I will see you on the other side.